There we go. All right. There we go. All right, we're on YouTube finally. Okay. Thank goodness. I tell you, some of these platforms, man, be fighting with them forever sometimes. All right, well, very cool. Very cool. I do have some things I want to go over today, but I'll wait for some people to come in. Probably should get a screensaver while I try to figure out all the platforms, shouldn't I? Last time I had a screensaver that was just staying still, and I'm like, I don't want to have a screensaver that's just not doing anything. It's better you guys just see me instead, right? Figured that would be better. But it looks like we got some people here, and looks like Facebook's working. Looks like Rumble's working. Working. Cool. Heck yeah. We got people on Kick. If you're on Kick, say hello. Kick's pretty awesome. Alrighty. Looks like we're on Facebook this time. Look at that. We're doing good. And we have a guest who will be joining us in 1 hour. I'm going to put that on the screen so everybody knows. I'm going to say special guest in 1 hour. Actually, 10 p.m. 10 p.m. EST. There we go. Whew. I already messed it up. Darn it. All right, there we go. Special guest at 10 p.m. We have to go over some latest developments, stuff that's going on. And I think you guys will probably like to hear about what's going on. So I'll just leave that there in the corner of the stream. And people can be wondering, like, who's the special guest? And we'll wait for some people to pop up here. Let's see if I'm signed in here so I have my chat. Select live sources. Boom. Activate. Awesome. Yo. Type in the chat. All right, cool. It works. And then let's see. Heck yeah. You guys can just listen to music for now. While I log in. Okay. Great. Cool. All right. So I came across something I want to go over, and then I want to show two other things. We'll go over that. We'll go over that. We'll do that. All right. All right. We're going to do several things. If you're in the chat, say hello. Everybody in the chat. I see there's 6 people watching. Just went live. Hello, hello. Make the music a little bit louder for now. Just chill out while we're getting set up. Hey, Scoon, what's up, man? You just arrived. Did you get the notification? I literally just went live, man. Crazy. In fact, actually, this wouldn't be a bad stream if you wanted to hop on at some point, possibly, because there is a special guest coming up at 10 p.m. EST, and he's up your alley. In fact, you know him. So we've planned this out a little bit before, and I always welcome people who are cool, energetic, like to hang out on stream. So we'll get things going. I don't go live all the time. Last time I went live, I heard some stories about that. I'm gonna close some of my tabs here. All right. We have Brighteon. Cool. I figure most people will be joining me on YouTube as usual. It's where people tend to join me. Maybe I should change my title so everybody knows I got a special guest. Who's the special guest? Oh, hey, you're the first person to ask. I knew that was going to happen. I'm going to say special guests. Live special guest. All right, I'm navigating a crazy world. Yeah, we'll do that. Sheriff me, open chat. All right, save. Cool. You'll just have to find out who the special guest is at 10 p.m. EST. That's all I have to say. It's very relevant to the future and what's going on in our world. I say he's very much up to speed. He gave me some things that I can say to kind of hint at it, but I thought it was still too much of a spoiler alert, so I don't know if I really want to tell you guys. Michelle Obama? Yeah, it's Joe Biden. Darn it, man. You got close, all right, but you didn't get it. You didn't get it. I'm sorry. Biden's here. He said, "I'm sorry. I messed up. I didn't mean to run for president." He said, all these things, and he's exposing it live here today on stream. He's sharing the fact that all these families are in on this game, and he's in this game, and he's like, "I'm over it." That's what Biden's here to do, guys. It's going to be the most epic stream ever. This is going to reach millions of people. Everybody's going to watch this. Everybody's going to have like their jaw dropped to the ground. All the Trump supporters are going to be like, "Oh my gosh, now I got to support Biden." And it's all going over, man. Everything's blown up. No, I'm just kidding. All right, I'm just kidding. That's all a joke, all parody. Joe Biden is not entering the stream. It's even better. It's Barack Obama. No, I'm just kidding. No guests. Okay, I'm sorry. But there is going to be a cool guest at 10 p.m. Better than Joe Biden. That's right. Okay, so we're going to get 1 billion views, not 1 million views. It's going to be better than Joe Biden. Yeah. Well, honestly, do videos with Joe Biden even get that many views? I'm starting to think, right? Like, do people really watch? I mean, even if I had him as a guest, I don't know if you guys would probably not even watch, right? You guys would be like, like, I already know, like, no one has the right to roll over me. Who cares about this, right? Why do we need to have some person be a puppet? It's like, why do we need to have him tell the truth? It's like, we already know the truth, right? Why do we need somebody to do that? Even if somebody changed their mind, like, "Oh yeah, I shouldn't rule over you." It's like, well, yeah, nobody should rule over me. Like, what? You guys probably wouldn't care. I like when he glitches. You guys ever see those compilations where it's like people's eye twitching? It's like, "Oh, he's a lizard." Well, speaking of that, I actually came across something today when I was looking at stuff for my stream. Okay, so I want you to check this out. Should I make this full screen? I should probably make it full screen. But check this out. So let's see. There we go. All right, so by the way, does this look good as a setup on stream? Like, be honest with me. Like, do I need a background or something? Like, should I make myself smaller? Should I put myself in the corner here? Should I like make this bigger? Do something like this? Like, then I feel like the chat needs like a background behind it, because otherwise you can't see what you guys are typing. So I can like make a box behind it. Here, I could do some live editing with you guys. Color source. Let's do a black box. Bam. Now everybody thinks I'm not live because it's a big black screen. All right, there we go. And then bam, put that behind the chat. Look how professional I am. Come on. You gotta admit that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Oh wait, the box is not covering the whole chat. Shoot. It's gotta look better. All right, wait. Can I make it bigger? Oh, darn it. Darn it. Wait, I can make it taller. There we go. Boom. Okay, admit that looks pretty good, guys. That looks pretty good, right? That looks pretty good. Looks better with a haircut? How dare you say that? No, you can't say that. No. That's not right. Okay? I keep my hair the way it is, all right? You could say anything you want on stream, but it cannot be cutting my hair. That's not happening here, okay? Not tolerated. Okay, you got to realize, man, I can delete your message, I can ban you, but I'm not, okay? Because I have long hair, right? You're lucky I have this. It's like an extension of my nervous system, right? I'm connected. Did you see I made Chimpanzee? Ooh, whoa. No spoilers, Scoon. Nobody knows who that is. Nobody knows who that is, okay? You're in a group with like 4 other people working on a movie script. That's public. But what's in the movie script is not public. Everyone's now like, what? Who's Chimpanzee? We got a spoiler? Thanks, man. It's fine. You can spoil it. It doesn't matter. Let's be honest. Jim probably shared the script with like 100 people by now anyways. For $100,000, would I cut my hair? Ken says, get a haircut. You got to be kidding me. Ken, that's the first message you say coming into my stream. I know you. You're literally, oh my gosh, dude. Oh my gosh. You got to be kidding me. I don't even get a hello, man. I just want a hello. That's all I want. All right. Well, listen. I'm a truth seeker, okay? That's all I need to be. I don't need to have a haircut, right? I had short hair my whole life, all right? I want you to realize that. And only recently, in the past couple years, did I decide to grow it out. But if you look at like all my past photos and stuff, which I probably haven't shared on my channel, it was short hair the whole time. So, you know. Now, would I look more professional? Would people probably take me more seriously? Would I look less like a hippie or less like somebody who takes psychedelics or smokes weed when I don't do any of those things? Yeah, probably would look better and more professional, and people would take me more seriously. Yes, absolutely. Am I going to do that to conform to the masses? Probably not. Because let's be honest, I'm a truth seeker. I'm not here to conform to the masses. I would feel probably pretty darn sad if I had to cut that hair, you know. But hey, you know, just attachment. It doesn't really matter to me. It's easier to not cut it, but once in a while I do if there's like a full moon, right, or something like that. But $100,000, yeah, I don't really care as much about money either. Like, health to me is more important. Doing what makes you happy, being honest, authentic. I think that's what my whole channel's about, if I must say. So, sorry to tell you guys. I'm sorry. But anyways, let me show you guys this, because I just mentioned lizards, and we were talking about, how there might be these compilations out there of people like with their eyes twitching. And to be honest, by the way, some of this is to discredit actual things that are going on in the world. Because people are like, you know, this researcher, that's all he talks about is people being lizards and this. Like, no. There's actual legitimate stuff that goes on in the truth movement, and there's people who have raised awareness for many, many years, gathered so much material, and they have books upon books upon books, and people will discredit it and say this is wrong and you should not look into it, because that's what people do, right? People who are stuck in the matrix. And I actually had a whole conversation about this with my parents recently. Not because they're stuck in the matrix. I'm not saying that. I'm saying because we have to realize the psychology here. And recently, you know, I was watching this video with, you guys might know who he is, this guy, William Donahue, right? And I don't watch many videos, right? But this stuff came across my feed after somebody in my chat was recommending his work to me. And his stuff is incredible, right? I've been watching it over the span of just here and there, and these teachings are amazing. They honestly are incredible. It's like, you think, well, he's just like some Bible preacher, some Christian preacher. No, he's teaching everything. He's teaching Buddha, he's teaching Krishna, he's teaching everything. Look at this, zodiac, symbology, astrology, way more than your average so-called preacher, and he speaks up against them. It's absolutely incredible. So if you guys are unfamiliar with this guy, William Donahue, you should definitely check him out. And these videos, you'll notice 13 years ago, guys. Look at this first video, Religion is a Cult. So people are not necessarily going to be open to this, but the people who are, they'll realize, wow, there's so much profound information in this, right? But he talks about this idea very commonly. It's like, you know, the religions won't even hear him out. People will leave his talks. And he's okay with that. He's okay with that. But recently he did one on that I saw. He did one on the subconscious mind, and how even despite all the things that we're exposed to, our subconscious mind remembers everything, right? So if you're a child, say, and you're growing up, and most people say, I don't remember really what happened in my childhood, what went on. Your subconscious does. Your subconscious is remembering everything that's happening to you. You're asleep, its subconscious is still going. You're only conscious of a certain amount of things, but your subconscious is taking in all this stuff, which is why, by the way, we have to look at the symbols we're exposed to too, right? I mean, one that's classic that I think people should know about, and I showed my parents this too, is the Google Play Store logo, right? And then if you look up the Lucifer sigil, it looks exactly like it. I mean, this, are you going to tell me that this is a coincidence? I don't know. I don't think so. This doesn't seem like a coincidence to me. You see this, guys? I mean, this just looks so much like it. But, oh, you know, that's nonsense, right? Why would they choose this as a logo when it looks exactly like that? And then, but it's not just that, right? I mean, it's not just this logo. You look up the Apple Store logo, it's the same thing, right? So let's see if they have one over here about that too. Maybe there's like a whole graph with them. There's probably one with like everything in it. But let's do Apple Store logo Freemason, right? I mean, that's pretty darn close, guys. That's pretty darn close. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, right? But this is the store that everybody is exposed to. Yeah, and then Gmail, right? There's a bunch of this stuff, and this is all over the internet. But, I mean, this kind of looks to me just like very obvious, right? So, this is just an example of subconscious programming, what symbols can do, and psychologists are able to kind of look deeper into it, and psychologists tend to be outcasted from religion. People who look into this stuff are outcasted from religion. Meanwhile, it's getting to the deep depths of the mind where religion is supposed to go, supposedly, right? Like connecting yourself with Source, with your inner child, with yourself. And we're being kept away from that, or we're not being encouraged to do that for ourselves and look internally and see that the kingdom of God is within us and within our temples and all this stuff, right? We have to externalize. We have to look up to the church, look up to the politicians, look up to the media, look up to this content creator or whatever it is, instead of going inward. And this is a common message that, you know, William Donahue talks about in his lectures. So absolutely incredible work, incredible passion. And it's amazing when I hear people like him speak, or Mark Passio or Larkin and Rose, it's like I can feel it in me. There's times where I have done public speaking or interviews, and there's a spirit or there's something I'm tapping into that allows me to do what I would do. And I'm serious about that. There's like this great energy just comes to me, especially when you're talking about something you're very passionate about and it gives you great purpose. Have you guys have any experiences with that? Right, where you're talking about something with great passion, great interest, and you're not trying to convert anybody, you're not trying to preach, you're not trying to sound angry, or you're not emotional, you're not trying to project a trauma, you just are just getting this divine revelation, and it's coming through your words perfectly, and you're being able to deliver it in such a way where it flows. And that right there is like, you can call your flow state, right? I just figured if any of you guys have those experiences, let me know. And I think as one becomes more attuned to public speaking or speaking about these truth-related concepts, that starts to happen. You start to be tapping into that more and more. But hey, you know, I can sound crazy and everybody will think, oh, you know, what is he talking about? And I shouldn't listen to that. But anyways, I came across this game when I was doing research today for my stream, and I was like, trying to find out, hey, are there any games out there that I can play on stream with you guys that are related to free thinking, critical thinking? I didn't know if there was anything like that that exists. And then I came across this, Lizards and Lies, right? A conspiracy theory board game. So it's a board game, and you have to download the print and you can play. It's a .ca website, and then I kept scrolling down here, and then it's like, okay, here's a video, we can watch that. But it says the team and sponsors, and look what it says here. It says this project was funded in part by the government of Canada. So, okay, we have a board game funded by the government of Canada. What's going on here? And it's about different theories that are on the internet. And then, you know, you look at some of the language here. Will you sow conspiracy or stop it in its tracks? Disinform the internet. When I see these types of words, I start to get a little skeptical, right? Of course, seeing who funds it too, of course, makes me quite skeptical. But hey, maybe this is actually an informative board game. Maybe it actually teaches us deeper things that we never thought about. Maybe it proves all the people who are asking questions wrong. So I'm like, all right, I'll show this on stream to you guys, and you guys can let me know if it's me that's going crazy, or if, this is actually something that I should probably play on stream with some people or check out. I'm like, what is this? Lizards and Lies, right? What the heck? It's got 10 subscribers on YouTube. How many people watched this video? 1,000 people 2 years ago. So not many people know about this. So let's see what this person says. When I saw this game, I immediately thought it would have interesting. Here, I'll make this bigger for you guys because you guys can't see what I'm reading right now. When I saw this game, I immediately thought it would have an interesting didactic rhetorical angle where one makes arguments or at least refers to ideas. I saw some sort of part where perhaps arguments were made, were judged or addressed in some way. Not sure how it would have worked, but I see reflection of, what is this guy talking about? Goofy ways to better things to do. And this person put a puke face. So far, doesn't seem that great. And again, the government of Canada funded this? What? Like, what? Why?
Lizards, conspiracy theory, and chaos. Welcome to this how to play video of Lizards and Lies.
Okay, and his sound for this video is on the left side of my right side of my ear.
This is a 2v2 board game where you play as either spreaders or stoppers trying to create chaos on social media. You can either spread one of two theories, one about lizards being world leaders, or another about birds being government drones surveilling the population.
Based in true.
Use the tools and cards at your disposal as a specific character and work with a teammate to either create absolute chaos in this social media network or to stop it from happening in its tracks.
OMG. I want to see what's the stuff that they got in here. I want to see what's all the great stuff that the government of Canada sponsored for this board game of all the things that are going on. Right side ratio, teacher, tic-tacs, what in the world is this? Is this what Canadians are doing on their free time? What's going on here? Anyways, here we go.
About the board, and we talked about buy-ins. It's time to go into every single character and try our first playthrough of Lizards and Lies. So let's start
30-minute tutorial for a board game?
Because they're going to kick off the game. So, we have a hand of 5 cards here. We have, and you'll notice a few things about the cards that we're looking at here. First,
really? Just birds and lizard people? That's all we got?
Top of the cards, you'll see that some have a bird icon, some have a lizard icon, and some say either. This tells you what kind of conspiracy they're going to add to the board.
That's
You'll
it?
See that it says right below.
That's the best they got, is just lizard people and drone birds.
That either an action
Come on.
or a reaction. Actions happen on your turn. Reactions happen at the end of another player's turn. So sometimes a reaction is worth not hanging on to for a little bit. But we'll get to that in a second. Then, each card might have specific keywords or actions that...
Lame. You know what was cooler? Do you guys ever hear this? This is much cooler. You guys ever see this before? Now this has all the stuff, right? This is a real game. And this one just shows all the cards from this card game. Have you guys ever seen this one? This one is way better, in my opinion. There's a lot of videos about this, too. Steve Jackson Games. And I think, what was it? Steve Jackson Games. They're associated with the guy Robert Anton Wilson, who's a psychologist. I'm pretty sure that is the case, right? Or I could be wrong. Yeah, Discordian religion. So there's a religion that was created to kind of mock or look at sort of the different aspects of religion. And this created its own religion, and it's meant to be like kind of a spoof. But anyways, it's connected to this card game, which is connected to this company, which they have as the logo of their company, and a pyramid with an eye. So if you don't know about this is like a whole rabbit hole, but it's pretty crazy. Now, I used to make games all the time when I was a kid, and I still actually make games. I made one recently for my Opposites book project, and then I made a really cool dice tournament type of game, but I'd have to test it out with people. Like Ken, if If you want to, I can probably test it out with you because I know you, or Beth, right? Because I know you guys in person. Hey, welcome to the chat, by the way. Blow your mind. I'm Canadian. Never card about that. Okay, cool. I'm glad you didn't work on that game. But if you did work on that game, you probably should have done more than just lizard people and drone birds. Come on, that's the best they can come up with, really? Like, these guys, they know what they're doing. These games are way better, right? Like, look at this. This is crazy. 1975, and apparently this game actually predicted some world events. And not a surprise, right? We've seen it with other things too. But notice this card game was created by Robert Anton Wilson, who is a psychologist. I actually feature a lot of his works in Health Revealed. So he's got a lot of knowledge about stuff that goes on nowadays in our world. And looks like he died in 2007, 74 years old. But he had a lot of works. And one of the things I also find fascinating is his idea of model agnosticism. So I know I'm like sounding like a nerd right now, but basically it's the idea that there isn't one model for the whole world and how it works, right? You have to be able to realize and open your mind to the perspective of like, okay, even this science, this physics, like it's still open to criticism because that is what science is here to do, right? We need to evolve. We need to constantly refine on our skills and question ourselves. And he understood that. And so he learned from a lot of people. Look, Buckminster Fuller, he was reading anarchists in the 19th century. A lot of people don't know about this guy. I mean, look, Carl Jung, Crowley, Einstein, he mixes all these people's works together. And he's got like so many different books, crazy stuff. Look at the stuff that he's written. The Eye in the Pyramid, some of this, again, is satire, but it's a mix of truth and satire on purpose. Because as you know, people learn a lot nowadays through humor, right? Through satire. There's a lot of that in here. Look at this. Quantum psychology, right? Everything is under control. Conspiracies, cults, and cover-ups. So some of this is like non-fiction. Others is fiction. But he's got everything. Look, plays and screenplays. He even has a thing on Wilhelm Reich. Like, the dude studied a lot of people, and he doesn't get a lot of credit necessarily. So there's a lot of people like this out there too, right? I mean, I click on any one of these guys, and I know I'm on the Wikipedia, which is not even a great source of information. But Terence McKenna, boom, there's a whole nother rabbit hole, right? Go look into any one of these guys, and the amount of work they've done is insane. Look, he spoke about entheogens, shamanism, metaphysics, alchemy, language, philosophy, culture, technology. And it's like, I thought I had a lot of videos. No, these guys have like more videos than any of us can ever produce combined. Now, to be fair, this guy was also like on shrooms half the time. But maybe if I was on shrooms, I might catch up to speed. Let's be honest. But it's very cool to look into, I would say. Very cool. So we have a special guest coming up in 30 minutes from now. It is 9:28, guys. We have a special guest coming up at 10 p.m. EST. I sound like I'm running a show here, even though it's just more casual. I love Terence, yeah? Yeah, Terence, I mean, there was a lot of great speakers in the 60s, 70s, 80s, as this like huge movement of people who are starting to question things and rebel and dance and music, all this revolution of the culture kind of came in. And so a lot of thought came in with it. And I think that's what we need again nowadays. We need a revolution of the culture, not just in the minds, because these things are connected. We need to see people dancing. We need to see people singing. And starting that up is going to be very interesting. I think it involves a level of inspiration. And maybe you can say it's going to be some entheogen usage. You already see a lot of people saying, we have kava bars and what is it? We also have other bars nowadays that are opening all over Florida, especially, right? It's like smoke lounges, all this stuff. But it's appealing a lot to like the hippie crowd, and people are also bringing back the clothes. I see a lot of people in my generation listening to 80s music. So a lot of people are seeing like all this great music is in the past. They're sick of what's on the radio nowadays. It's like they're finding out it's all these frequencies that are pushing us down. So there's a big demand, I would say, for kind of creating a new shift in the culture. And To be fair, this has also been called counterculture, right? But we don't want to get stuck into another trap like we did in the 60s, where it turns into drugs, where it turns into agendas for wars and all sorts of things. There was a lot that went on then, right? Now with the internet, it's going to be a very interesting turn of events, especially as we see things are collapsing. At least a lot of people are speculating that. And Ken, you've been sharing with me resources about that. If you want, share with me whatever resources that I should go over on stream for the folks who are going to watch this on the replay. Because there's a lot of people who watch my streams on the replay. And so if it's important that we go over that, then I can. But send me what you think would be pertinent. I have my Telegram open, so if you want to send a link there, I can pull it up. But yeah, it's probably not going to send on the chat. So Telegram would be best. Any of you guys always share stuff on Telegram or with me in one of the chats. But all right, so special guest at 10. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to put that on the other screen so we can go over whatever else I got going on here. There we go. And that'll be very cool. We'll get into that. So, first matters first, aside from all the other board game stuff and cool researchers you probably should know about, if you don't. And I did a video on Jordan Peterson a couple of weeks back now. How long was it? I did one, and it got a good amount of traction because I mentioned Jordan Peterson. If I talk about people all day, I'd get a lot more views. But I defended him because the whole internet was kind of attacking him. And to be fair, they kind of still are. Because a lot of people are either religious or they're atheist, and they don't really want to hear a different point of view, including one that says, I'm not going to title myself at all. It's like, that's the worst of all. It's like, I can't put you in a box. No way. But I try to approach this, from different angles, react to it, and even interact with some people in the chat here. I still stand by what I said in this video, talking about, how Jordan Peterson doesn't really have to make up his mind. He's still figuring out, for himself where he stands on this religious matter. It's a constant evolution. It's a spiritual evolution. And I even share some valuable criticism of Jordan Peterson from the psychologist Gabor Mate, right, who shares how he thinks there might be some trauma in Jordan through some of his works. And I shared also a challenge that I have for Alex O'Connor, which many people in the atheist sphere is familiar with. But you'll see how there's a lot of people in the chat who agree with me. There's a lot of people who disagree with me, and that's fine. I'm here to simply express my opinion, to be honest, to be open, and I want other people to do the same, right? I just don't like when people are attacking others. They're like, you're wrong, and, you got to be this, you got to be that. That's where I get careful, right? That's where I get quite careful. And I only tend to make defense videos for the people who just get badged on through the internet. And so look what he had to say recently, the truth behind Dr. Peterson's controversial Jubilee episode. And for some context, in case you guys did not watch this, basically there was a viral clip of this kid confronting Jordan saying, hey, are you a Christian or are you not? And, Jordan is like, no, I'm just me. And it's like, well, I was told that I'm debating a Christian. And Jordan's sitting there like, what are you talking about? I learn from everything. I learn from Taoism. I learn from Christianity. This is what I do. And we just talked before about psychology, and we shared William Donahue, who shares this perspective as well. He teaches through the Bible, but he's sharing perspectives from Buddha, from Lao Tzu, from Krishna. He's sharing perspectives from everyone. He's looking at all sorts of things that people don't look into. Well, this is what Jordan had to say about this controversy that happened.
I saw your Jubilee video.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've got a story about that. I should tell you, just so everybody knows. I haven't told this.
I don't understand how they thought they could get away with teaching you their defense or their processing in such a disrespectful tone.
Well, I'm actually going to speak a little bit in their favor for a minute. Because as it turned out, as I understand, people who were arguing with me were told a different story than I was told.
Oh.
I was told it was Jordan Peterson against 20 atheists. They were told that it was a Christian against 20 atheists. And so that first young man, who was very disrespectful, he said something about me being a Christian, and I said, I didn't make a claim to be a Christian. And he said, well, what do you mean? This is a Christian against 20 atheists. You don't even know where you are. And I thought, what the hell? I don't know. I don't understand that. That wasn't my understanding. I don't know if that was a mistake on the part of Jubilee.
They did that.
Yeah.
Because I've heard other people come from there.
It was appalling what they did. It made me look like a fool at times because I didn't know what the hell was going on. It also had the same effect on the young people that were challenging me because
I like
they
the music.
felt
It's
I
like
was
so
playing a
sad.
crooked game, when in fact both of us had been misinformed.
So, but where did you get the invitation from? From the Jubilee people?
Yes, they had offered me a number of potential topics, one of which was Jordan Peterson against 20 atheists. And I thought, oh, I could do that, as I'm very unhappy about it. I think what they did was despicable. We've thought about reacting to it. We have the documentation, but decided to let it lie until now, apparently.
So, I mean, obviously it's not a big deal and people made it a big deal, but as you can see, there's more blame to be put on the people who hosted the whole talk. And the funny thing is, in the chat section here, I talked about that to one of the comments, and I said, it's more of a problem for Jubilee than anyone else. Yeah, he says, this person says, you are missing the point, Corey. The debate was about a Christian versus 20 atheists, not a neutral versus 20 atheists. The kid had a right to express his frustration at being conned. And I said, I know this. That's precisely what I'm talking about in the video. Besides, this frustration seems more for Jubilee than Jordan, and their videos do better with more dogmatism for drama. Right? And so let's take a look then at what Jubilee puts out commonly. Now, I'm not saying that all their stuff is, wrong and shouldn't be looked at, but just look at the way that they're marketing this stuff, right? 1 progressive versus 20 far-right conservatives. What's his red flag? Men face off. 7 Christians versus 1 secret Satanist. It sounds like we're doing like a boxing match here. Like, what is going on? 1 conservative versus 20 feminists. It's very, if I have to say, consumer based. And I get it. This is the internet, right? This is what people do. But if you're actually trying to evolve in your own philosophy, if you're actually trying to find out the truth, have some sort of enlightenment experience, if you will, are you going to get that from watching these type of clickbaity videos of different personalities, of different people debating with one another? I'm right, you're wrong, and let me tell you why, and here are all these people from all these different perspectives, and to see them yelling at each other and having all these debates, is that really going to be productive to you? I don't make these videos for myself, for my own ego, or for a certain personality or identity. I make them so you can find out for yourself, where do I lie within this world, within these ideologies. And that's why I respected Jordan in that circumstance. Now, I'm not saying he's immune to criticism. I'm not saying people shouldn't criticize him. I'm not saying that, he obviously he works with the Daily Wire, and some people say, oh, well, he's got some ties with that, and he doesn't criticize maybe Israel or whatever, right? I don't know all the details. But I'm saying in this circumstance, he's allowed to make up his own mind on the matter and not play into the Christian or atheist game. He's allowed to just be himself, right? And learn from everyone. But people have a hard time accepting that and really just hearing out my point of view. So thank you to those of you who have. And for those of you who disagree, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. And somebody one of my comments called me a theist. Just a theist with zero argument and logic. It's like, I didn't ever even called myself a theist. What's going on here, right? But again, this is the mindset. It's like, well, where do you fit? It's either you're in this box or you're in that box. And if you're not either one, well, then you're just confused and you don't know what you're doing. And you have to make up your mind eventually. It's like, you got to be kidding me, right? I would defend him if I had a YouTube channel. Defending the indefensible. It's like, yeah, he can defend himself. I'm just choosing to talk about it for a greater lesson. I'm not defending Jordan as the person so much. It's not like he's going to be crying about this and like, boo-hoo, man, I got owned on Jubilee. It's like, no, he's going to learn from this, and so are the kids, hopefully. But unfortunately, I saw a lot of the kids from these debates just kind of accept a bunch of interviews after that and start talking about it. It's like, I would love for them to just open up to the possibility of, he doesn't have to really play into the Christian versus atheist game. Can't he just be an observer? Can't he just learn That's it. So anyways, that's that. Hope you appreciate my little rant on that. 20 minutes until we have a special guest on 10 p.m. EST. So for those of you on the East Coast, it's a little bit late night. I don't usually do these live streams this late, but it's all right. It's all cool. We'll put back on the music here. And you'll also notice recently I put out a clips channel with some clips from our live streams. So the last live stream I did, we talked about some things going on with Epstein, with America falling, Joe Rogan clip, and then what Larkin Rose put out about Epstein as well, which is relevant because the whole system is kind of being challenged right now by a lot of mainstream individuals, a lot of mainstream content creators, because of what's happening, and it involves children. So this is a great opportunity to realize that the whole system is out to get you, and they think they're exempt from morality and can get away with all sorts of crimes. It's crazy, but it shows in moments like this. This is one of the biggest cover-ups perhaps of our time. There are other ones, I'm sure, but this is one that is coming to the surface, right? So it's something that we should definitely take note of. And if any of you guys have updates on that whole situation, be sure to let me know, because I definitely want to just keep in touch with what's going on with that sphere of things. But luckily, since all you guys are truth seekers, most people who watch my stream, I can get news and information from sites like this, where there's tons of information that we aren't necessarily exposed to, right? So, crazy stuff. Unpopular opinion: if you're dumb enough to buy and eat foods made with artificial dyes, no government can protect you from your own stupidity. That's right. Hilarious to see people who realize hospitals were paid up to $500,000. Oh man. Yeah, Mike is going off here. Holy moly. Crazy. But he recently, as an announcement I can share with you guys, he recently launched, and I shared this on my stream before, Brighteon.ai. Right, so this is a website where you can actually access one of the first ever decentralized AIs in the world. And I say that because he also spent millions of dollars of his own money, Mike Adams, to create this, and he tested it on so many different things. He fed it so much different data. You can actually do, I think he said 100 per day for free or something like that. So you can definitely check it out. It's called Enoch. It's currently rated at 80% alignment with reality-based test scenarios. That's what it says here. What is Enoch? The world's #1 AI language model on reality benchmarks. Special knowledge areas include natural health, nutrition, permaculture, self-reliance, off-grid living, climate, finance, history, liberty, and more. It's capable of deep research, generating content, summarizing content, answering questions, and basic reasoning, and more. So if you guys want to see more stuff on this, I could probably make dedicated videos to this. And show you guys how it works. I think Mike was even telling me that he wanted to give me a special access key or something to his AI, so I can mess around with it more and use it for content purposes. As you guys know, I don't really use AI for any of my content. I was doing some experimentation with my shorts on my new TikTok, and then I kind of just stopped doing it. And to be honest with you guys, I was getting a lot more views just doing things unscripted, doing things without AI on the new TikTok. I just gave up on it. I'm like, I just didn't want to. I was, after a while using the AI in the whole new TikTok account, I was just like, I'm over it, right? They call it AI slop nowadays. It's not original as much as I want it to be. And it just felt very plain. It didn't have the passion, the energy. I think it was missing. And then the minute I started doing unscripted videos, it's just views went right up again. So I was like, okay. So it was cool for the time being, but couldn't last forever. And I know there's all sorts of different ways to use the technology, and we can talk about that. Trust me, we will be talking about that. And unfortunately, to some extent, having no choice, because everything on the internet might head in that direction. But that being said, seeing the human energy and input and passion is something that I love, and that's why I love speakers like Mark and William and all these guys, right? It's because there's something so profound in what they're saying, right? You could feel the energy. If you guys have ever gone to a Mark Passio like speaking event, you will know what I mean when I say you can feel the energy in the room when he speaks. You can feel that energy. Like, I'm not even kidding. I was in Pennsylvania, right, in Philadelphia, and there was an activation tour, I think Derek Bros called it. It was Derek Bros, there was Mark Passio, mainly, and Derek was even rapping at the end. But when Mark spoke, like, the whole room just, like, vibrated. And there were people who were completely new to Mark's work, and they were in the back, and I saw their reactions. They're like, oh my gosh, what is going on? But everyone in there was like, yeah, go Mark. It's like, holy moly. Crazy stuff. Anyways, let's see. Text summarizer, daily meal planner. Wait, you can upgrade? Simply Scientific Journals. So wait, how does this work? Upgrade today. So, okay, does he have a paid version of Enoch? Oh, interesting. Okay. So yeah, he's got all these systems set up. We got a like free ebook and a newsletter and store. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so that's crazy stuff. Anyways, if you want to check that out, the website is brighteon.ai for all this cool stuff that's going on. Very cool. He's putting a lot of effort into these types of programs because no one else can really do it. There's a lot of people who develop things on their own, but he's got the resources, the money to create his own sort of decentralized version of, let's say, ChatGPT or any of these big ones. So there you have it. There you have a decentralized version. I think that's really cool. Pretty cool indeed. How you guys doing in this chat? Everybody who's watching. Blow Your Mind, Scoon, Ken, Beth, thank you for joining me here. Appreciate you guys. Is everything coming up on YouTube? Is anything getting cut out? As I know last time we had that issue too a little bit. And then how we doing on Brighteon? Anybody watching on Brighteon? Say hello. We're live on Brighteon. You guys want to check this out? So I'm on the home page of Brighteon. Right, so Brighteon.ai is the AI website, and then you have just the regular website, which is all videos, kind of like a YouTube alternative. So you can check this out, right? So we're right there on the home page. Check that out. Hey, Stephanie, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Fearless Floyd, I'm taking long peeks. Long peeks? What do you mean long peeks? What does that mean? You click on my stream and then you're like, all right, I'll watch for 5 minutes and then click off. What does that mean, man? Hey, you can come on my stream at some point, Fearless Floyd. I know we do that once in a while. It's pretty late night stream. I don't usually do it this late, but Stephanie, always great. Part of our Health Revealed project. A little reminder for you all. A lot of great stuff here if you're interested in psychology. And if not, that's cool too. Anyways, I'm going to close all this stuff. Ignore all this, Fearless Floyd. Ignore all this. Ignore all this. This has nothing to do with anything. Ignore all that. I was totally not looking at board games and card games related to conspiracy theories. I'm not staring. I'm drafting my presentation for Sky Pony. What's that? Sky Pony? What? Is that an event coming up? I know you linked me something. Did I look at that? You sent me something today. Right? You texted me something. It's like, I feel like I might have missed it by accident. Whoops. Man. Anyways, I want to show you guys this as well. So we have the Clips channel that I just created as a bit of an experiment, and I've done like hundreds of experiments at this point. And then somebody else decided to set up Cuckoo Clips, and I want to say thank you to Jerry. Not Jerry with a G-E-R-I, but Jerry with a J-E-R-R-Y. Thank you for helping me out with that. Jerry Tappan. You guys might know some of his work in the community. He figured to just clip some of my stuff. He's using Opus to do this, which is like basically like a free clipper tool. And he took this one from an interview I did outside with some college students. So there's a lot of clips that could be made from that. But I told him, I'm like, you might want to be careful with the AI tools. Like, this is only 30 seconds long, kind of skips most of it. And it's just because these AI tools just don't really know right now. Like, I'm just being honest with you guys. They're not that good. They're not that good. I just don't think they're at the level yet where they're good. But the funny thing is, I'm saying that 10 minutes before my special guest comes in, and he can prove me entirely wrong. He can prove me entirely wrong because he knows this stuff way better than me. So I already gave you guys a little bit of a spoiler of what to expect. Okay? What we're going to be sharing, I'll give it now before I didn't do it. But since Fearless Floyd is here, Stephanie, you're here, and you're like, what am I doing here? I'll tell you right now what we're going to do. He said, join us live as we test. Okay, wait, I'll turn off the music, make it more epic. Join us live as we test a cutting-edge browser-based AI that keeps your prompts private, drops most content filters, and taps open source models for text and images. We'll show real-time chats and image generation. So a whole new system that just kind of came out that he wants to test on stream with us. And I was like, hey, I'm down to do it because he's got a great personality. He's got great energy. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Sounds good. And then maybe, I could take it, turn it, clip it, put it on the Clips channel, right? Free is not. Subscriptions are much better, but still, yep. Yes, sir. Well, I'm glad to have you here, Fearless Floyd. I'm glad to have you here, Stephanie. And how you guys doing? Are you guys doing all right? Let me know. All right. Speak vicariously through the stream to you guys, so I don't have to call you on the phone. But is there anything that's been happening lately, like that I should know about? News-wise, Fearless, like, I feel like you're more in tune with that than me. I have 8 minutes, so like I can't get into like a whole video or anything right now. I'm just like asking a quick question. If there's anything I should probably go over. I'm like looking on Twitter right now. I don't see there's anything I can talk about that's somewhat mainstream. But oh yeah, I saw the Ozzy Osbourne thing. That's crazy. R.I.P. Doing good, keeping my peace in this chaos. Yep. Let's see. Oh yeah. I'm looking at Twitter right now. I'm like, look at this. Tons of look over here. Yeah, that's what it seems like, Fearless Floyd, right? It's like, oh, check out this thing going on over here. Check out this thing over here. And I tend not to talk about the news for that reason, because it tends to be like, here's all the things that happen at the surface level, but the more you go deep into it, it's like what Stephanie Mo Davis does, her work on trauma and looking at the psyche and looking at the masculine and feminine. Like, this stuff is way more impactful than anything else. This stuff is universal, it's timeless. This is what gives rise and root to all these manifestations that we're seeing in our daily news. Trump said Obama committed treason and to throw him in jail. I'm sure a lot of people are going to, applaud that. And so, in fact, I have a clip right here. Is this what it is? I guess I can watch it, right? It's 1 minute long. All right.
The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up to 2020 in the election.
I mean, this seems like what he usually says, right? Oh, it's the left, it's Obama, it's these people. And a lot of people are going to say, yeah, this is true. But what about still what's going on with Epstein, right? I love the fact that now everybody's like, okay, great, but what about Epstein? And not only that, right? It's like you point out one person in this system, then you got to point out like 100 others with them. And then at that point, it's like, okay, the whole system falls apart, right? Because it's like the FDA is working with all these companies, and these companies are working with these people, and this person's working with this person, and this person was funded by this person, and this person was complicit or hiding with this or letting this happen. It's like, to what level of crime are we talking here, right? I mean, what's going on here? You can't really say, oh, it's all on this one person, whether it's Trump or Obama or this or that. It's like, even if Trump passes a law, even if he gets rid of this, exactly, like, where to start? Where do you start? And it's not like I'm saying this to confuse people. It's rather to help them see, like, maybe we need to shift our perspective here. Because symptom management, as you would know, Stephanie, in medicine, is not going to get us anywhere. So how do we get to the root cause? I mean, maybe you would actually suggest, Stephanie, what we can do. Begin with those who hurt children, I would say. Well, I think that's why a lot of people are right now united about the Epstein stuff going on. I see a lot of unification there. A lot of people coming together saying, like, hey, doesn't matter where you are, what aisle you are on, it's about the children. And that's very important, right? So I've been following, particularly for that news, I've been following CoffeeZilla. And I know he's not like some independent content creator, but I think he does a good job for general stuff that's been happening. Well, his alt channel, Voidzilla. This one right here. And you can see his last video was It's All Coming Out, 3 million views. And he's holding everyone accountable, and he's not playing left versus right. That, I think, is the crux of this, is can people get to the point where they say, all right, is this moral or is this immoral? And can we just treat people as people? Can we stop with the authority worship? Can we stop with the blaming the left or blaming the right? It's not going to help us actually solve these issues. And what happened when the stuff with Epstein came out? Trump went, oh, it's the left. Oh, it's a hoax. It's like, that's not going to make him, it's not going to help his own base. Nonetheless, it's going to make a lot of people start to question even more. So I'm not against it to some sense, but it just shows you, like, this is the system we're in. We have to take responsibility ourselves as we the people. We say we are the government. Then, you know, we need to really make sure this stuff doesn't happen again. It will just keep happening again and again if we keep giving these people power. And it really is that simple. We cannot be afraid of getting messy right now. Yeah, I know some people who are talking about this, right? I talked about Asmongold on my last stream, and he's like, I just want to see all chaos break loose. He's like, I want to see it all be exposed, release everything, show all the names. It's like, you know? But meanwhile, on other streams, I see him saying, oh, well, you know, we need to make sure that we don't do this because there'll be chaos. It's like, huh. You know, so there's fears in some places with people, and there's some not in other places. But when it comes to children, people start to say, like, oh my gosh, you know, my heart opens, mind opens. And I think that's a beautiful thing, right? It has to do with the feminine. It has to do with that part of the brain that's realizing, you know, and I talked about the subconscious earlier on my stream just today. It's like realizing all this programming that happens at a very young age, all the stuff that they're exposed to, they're vulnerable. Like, we feel for that because we were all once children, and we still have that child within us. We still have that subconscious. People who are afraid of chaos, I believe, have something to hide themselves. Yes, and so it's like, to what extent are people afraid? To what extent are people in fear? And it's very applicable to the subconscious and then opening up to those areas of our brain and our mind, finding out where have I been programmed. Because fear is going to block you from confronting that and opening up to, you can say it's just the source, the spirit, to God, right? But meditation and prayer is to help you get into kind of that subconscious mind to do that deprogramming. So it's not an unscientific, faith-based thing, you know, where you're just relying and hoping and begging for that change to happen within yourself. It's much better than certainly begging and pleading and hoping that the governments change you and change society. It's going to come internally. This is where the change is going to live. And I think people are going to start realizing this as the external keeps falling on itself. And now we have this massive spread of information. Now with AI and what's happening with Joshua, who I'm going to be sharing as my guest here, my special guest, we're going to share how these tools can really free people and really help with this evolution more than any period ever before on Earth. All right, so I'm going to get the link for Joshua. All right, I'm going to tell him getting the link. All right, put some music on here. Let's get Joshua on our stream here. I'm going to send him a Jitsi link. Start a virtual cam. All right. So Joshua is our special guest here. It is 10 p.m. Spoiler alert. And let's see, do I have to sign in for this? Let me make sure. Jitsi. Now, if you guys don't know what Jitsi is, actually, surprisingly, a lot of people don't know what Jitsi is. It's like a Zoom alternative, right? So, in case you don't have Zoom, I used it for a lot of my own projects and a lot of interviews and talks with people. I don't pay for Zoom. And video. Right? All right, great. I'm all set up here. And then, great. All right, I'm going to join meeting. I'm going to send him the link, and we're going to get started right now. What's up here? You have to be willing to lose it all, to start from solid ground like a purging. We are riddled with psychic debris and so many things to hijack our attention of our own. Yeah. A lot to decompress from or decondition from. And that's why people are appealed to spirituality nowadays. It's not just desperation. They're finding out, accessing a part of the brain that I've never looked at before. And I'm going inward, or I'm purging outward, right? Has a similar effect. Because usually we're in some sort of imbalance, or we're thinking a lot, or we're trapped, and so we need to do something different to get different results. And so when we go outside our comfort zone, maybe go to church every Sunday, or try to read a certain scripture, or try to meditate and be persistent with it, and really silent the mind, and then witness our thoughts, and witness these ceremonies, and witness song and dance, and express ourselves through creativity, all of a sudden things start to shift for us, and we say, well, how did that happen, right? And it's the same thing that you share with me, Stephanie, where you would teach yoga classes, and all of a sudden people would cry, they would bawl, and they would, all of a sudden open up to all sorts of ideas. Romans 12:2. Oh gosh, you're gonna make me pull up Bible quotes now, aren't we? Are we preaching sermon time? All right. Well, I sent the link to Joshua. Let's hope he can get in here. Let me try to see if I can get my face up here. Boom! Whoa! Trippy! Look at that, guys. Ooh. Yeah, that's crazy. Trying to think. How am I doing? Guess if I do that. Huh. I'm like, what in the world? How do I? Let me think for a moment. See, music sometimes messes with me too, because I'm like, I gotta think in silence. I'm used to thinking in silence. Whoa. Trippy, man. Fuck, now it feels like, who's here on psychedelics, right? I'm gonna stop my virtual cam. That way it doesn't do that. And oh, there's Joshua. All right, cool. And you see me, but right now I'm crazy, so I'm gonna fix that.
Cool.
I think I know how to fix it. It popped in my head. There we go. And then I put myself on the other side. You've done this before, right? You know how to do it.
Nice. You doing OBS?
Yes.
Yes.
Here we go.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple, because that thing's a beast.
Yep. And then I'm gonna hit Alt right there. Put myself on this side. Boom. Look at that.
Nice. Look
Until
at
you
that.
share your screen, and then we're screwed.
Yep. We'll see what happens then.
I can just reposition myself. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody, our special guest here at 10 p.m. EST. We're here. We're live. We're with Joshua Hale, joshuahale.io. is his website. I'll turn off my music here. But yeah, awesome guy. And I've connected with you in the past, what was it, like month or two? And I was just like full plunged into the AI world, which I haven't looked enough into until I came across your interview on Mike Adams' platform for decentralized.tv. And I saw it and I was like, wow, here's this guy who's delivering tools for small businesses so they can have the tools that the big businesses are using and so much more, right? Because now you're developing master classes, whole like programs, and then you shared with me some of the courses you're doing for people who are totally new to AI. So absolutely incredible. Glad to have you here and to share all the new juicy stuff that's going on in the AI world.
Yeah, thanks, Corey. It's always an exciting time. I chose a pretty exciting career to follow. And, just last week, ChatGPT agents came out. And so I just posted a video on 4 examples of what that can do. I was able to do a vacation planning for my wife and I's anniversary coming up next month. Did a fantastic job. But what this agent does is opens up its own computer terminal in the chat now, and it will go and click through the internet. So another cool use I got out of it was I gave it access to my Google Drive and went in there and I said, how can I better organize my Google Drive, right? Because who's got a perfectly organized Google Drive? And it gave me some good tips. And then it said, oh, there's a bunch of untitled documents. Would you like me to retitle them for you? I was like, whoa. So I said, yeah, read through the document, summarize it, and give me a title. Boom, started going to work. 10, 15, 20 untitled documents that I would never open up ever again in my life. And it was able to start making things happen on my, outside of the model. So pretty exciting times to see this stuff really coming into play. It's not Terminator right now. Right now, it's just a super powerful tool that, I'm a huge advocate for to put the power back into the individual's hands so that we can, live prosperous lives, dependent or not dependent upon centralized power. And these things can really help you out on an entrepreneurial aspect.
Great. Yeah, and I wanted to share just a little bit about, for the people who are skeptical, if you can just do a quick little disclaimer, about, let's say, I meet some people who still tell me AI is the devil or we should not be using these types of tools, and then I have other people who say no, AI is like God and becoming conscious. So how do we navigate that? Just as a disclaimer before moving forward.
For sure. Well, as I said, it's not Terminator right now. All it is a word predictor. Just like when you're sending a text message to somebody and your phone keyboard, is showing the next word, predicting, what will come next. That's basically all that these large language models are doing. They're getting more and more advanced based off of that. But I was in Seattle in 2016, and I got to hang out with some developers that were geeking out watching chatbots talk. And I went over looking at what they were doing and laughing about, and it was incoherent. There was no sentiment of any type of reasoning happening. And then little did I know, I was just a couple years ahead of them throwing the whole internet at these models. And once they threw massive amount of information, they all of a sudden started making sense. And so now we have this very powerful tool that will do its very best to give you an answer to what you ask of it. These models are, they're not out to get us. They're basically locked into the infrastructure, the chat window that we're using these things with. And soon they're going to be putting them into robots. Soon they're going to be, out there on the internet as agents. And there's going to be a whole, slew of different types of problems that we're going to come up against. But right now, it's super empowering to individuals. And so I'm a big advocate of just learning how this stuff works, learning the practical use of in your life of what it can do, because there's going to be a big separation in society of people that are not using this technology and then those that are. And within that are subsets of those that are. They're going to be a majority of them are going to be using dumbed down versions of this stuff to where, they're going to be writing fart jokes and figuring out how to hook up with women,
Yep.
right? Using these tools. Meanwhile, people like yourself, myself, we're learning how to build businesses and generate revenue and create. This is a massive creative boom that I previously had a hard time with copywriting and like writing books and things like that. These roadblocks are disappearing quicker than you can possibly know, to where I have an idea, I can like explore that idea, I can brainstorm that idea now, I can choose one avenue and get it from idea to marketplace in the shortest time that has ever been possible. And so this is super empowering for free market, super empowering for, finding your purpose and finding ways to make revenue, doing what you love. And so there's so much possibility and opportunity right now that, that's why I'm a big advocate of this stuff. And back to concerns, privacy is a big concern. And we're going to be talking about privacy today with looking at this uncensored model that I'm excited to show off.
Yeah.
But when it boils down to it, anytime you go on the internet right now, like you're being tracked, you're being like triangulated, and there's no real way to be completely private unless you're using, Tor and having a sophisticated process. But if you got a Windows machine or like an Apple, like you're not private. Now, when you use these large language models, they have privacy settings on them. Trust them as far as you can throw them, right? I tend to overshare with my ChatGPT because I want to see where the boundaries are, so I can tell other people about them.
Sure.
And from this, you can, if you're very paranoid, first off, never share your sensitive information. Your social security card numbers, credit card numbers, that stuff shouldn't be like anywhere that it's not supposed to. Secondly, there's privacy buttons you can turn on where ChatGPT, promises not to use your information to train its model. Trust that as far as you can throw it. And then I myself, I like to keep that on because I want to train the model with my values and my ethics and like my input. So that's my choice. Meanwhile, you're not going to get true privacy until you get like a separate computer that is just for your private and sensitive communications and like finance. And these models are already available now, these open source models where we can now run these models locally. So the information is not running into a server up in the cloud on somebody else's property, but we're able to like have these AI models with our information localized so that we can harness the power of these things and be completely private. But, you need to be aware that these things are possible. Privacy like isn't a huge issue right now, but it's going to be, because for decades, it's all been heading in this direction. I'm sure your audience knows this of technocracy and how the managerial, class is getting into position. And what's different now is they now have AI to process all the data that we've been trailing behind us for decades, right? So soon in the coming years, right, privacy is going to be a serious issue. It's going to be at serious risk from being like eviscerated forever. And so we need to have backups in place to where we don't have we still want to interact with the rest of the world through these systems that they've created that are not private, but you also want to have a backup to secure your communication and your finances.
Okay.
Yeah, and I could pull up anything on the screen for people as well. I was thinking of pulling up a slide that I did on technocracy, the Health Revealed project. Somebody in the chat, Stephanie Mo Davis, is part of that project with me. And we talk about this idea of technocracy. You have Aldous Huxley and George Orwell and historic writers of the past who have notoriously mentioned these types of concerns back in like the 60s, right? So there's been people who have been talking about this, speculating about it, and now it's, it's coming to life, and people are starting to be like, whoa, what is all this technology? So it's really cool to know you, because you're really plugged into that world. You're always seeing the developments. You even have a newsletter. So for everybody who's watching, like, you guys can join this newsletter. It's very much up to date. I get your letters all the time. I saw one actually like not even an hour ago or whatever, before I went live. Evolving Seeds, so what's up? And Fearless Floyd said smart device in quotes. Right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and do you know the guy Rob Braxman? I think is right, Brax Tech. Yeah, I think he's he is getting very famous in the tech world for like privacy and security, and he's sharing all sorts of solutions. But figured I'd throw that name out there for anybody interested more on that side of things. But today we're going to be experimenting with something, right? You said you have a tool that's like kind of off the mainstream.
Yeah, so I came across this in a local AI meetup this last week. It's called Venice.ai, and it claims to be an uncensored AI model. Now, the reason this is both important and like dangerous, and you need to be responsible with this stuff, is because the major large language models that are out there, they have things called guardrails put on them for like good reason. But when I first started using ChatGPT, this was like during the pandemic, and I was getting red warning signs saying you're not allowed to talk about this, and if you continue to do so, you'll have your account removed. Right? So,
Wow.
Without the need of saying what those type of searches were about, right? Since then, ChatGPT really has taken a more backseat approach. I really believe it has to do with this current administration and not having the pressure coming from big government onto the big tech. And so Sam Altman, the guy behind OpenAI, he's talked about this openly. He thinks it's important that that we should be able to research and get context and different views. So the whole culture of the company has shifted in the last year or so. They put out a blog on the importance of seeking truth, and they have designed ChatGPT to be your companion to seek truth. Now, it has drastically opened up in not having certain terms, like saying no, I won't talk about that, or steering you back into certain areas of conversation. And for my general, business entrepreneurship, I use that model all the time. If I have a real spicy rabbit hole, right, to jump into, then I'll go to a different model, because I just know there's some things where it's going to stonewall you. So I came across this model called Venice.ai, and they are all about having a censored or uncensored version of these large language models. And I'll jump out and let's see how this screen share goes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just have the position.
How we're going to do this.
Yeah, I could always pull up anything on my screen. So. Good.
All right, so Venice.ai. It's free. It's using open source models. This is what they, promote: unrestricted intelligence. It's private, so anything you put on here, all the data stays on your device, not our servers. That's pretty cool. And then they claim it's uncensored. Now, what this means is that they were able to get these open source models and then strip away the system commands of the guardrails that I was talking about, right? To where normally you don't get to just, put a prompt in or a question and have it go directly into the model and get a response. It then goes through a system command and goes through all these criterias before like getting the information from the model and then like delivering it to the user. So what this did was went and stripped all that system commands away so that it's able to give you uncensored responses and AI images, which is pretty cool because AI images do get pretty censored. So let's check
So where
this.
is this based out of? You know what's crazy? Okay, so now that I see the front cover, I saw
Yeah.
this link somewhere on like Twitter or somewhere, like just like yesterday. Not even kidding, like 2 days ago or something. Like I pulled
Yeah.
it up, and I don't even browse the social media. I saw this link somewhere to me, and I was
Sweet.
like, "What is this?" I'm surprised you're actually showing me this today, because I'm like, "Oh shoot, I just clicked on this like not even 2 days ago."
Yeah, so like back to why this is important and also dangerous, right? So I mean, we can test this stuff out, but
Okay.
there's some things you don't want the general public to be able to just, ask a large language model and like get, right? Because like imagine so imagine, the gangster that lives in the ghetto being able to like figure out how to make, pipe bombs or something, right? We don't want the general public to like get access to certain recipes.
Although they can just download offline ones, but yeah, yeah, we don't we don't endorse that. We don't want that.
Right. But we also need to have something to put the other models in check, because if these other ones, if all Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic, if they all agree upon like, yeah, you're right, let's all just not talk about that subject, the pokey one. Then you're controlling the narrative of what like the general public has access to, what they can research to, and that becomes dangerous. We saw that in full effect during the pandemic. So having an open source model is crucial to freedom and freedom of speech.
Okay.
So I got some. Let me see.
And by the way, I want to put this out there before you start putting in prompts. Like, if we go into the weeds of something that's like really controversial, I can switch off my YouTube. I'm streaming to 6 platforms right now. So
Cool.
I can always just stop it on YouTube. We say, hey, everybody, join us over here, and we can talk about anything we want. All right?
Well, I'm not going to play with any of the ghetto gangster topics that we just talked about, but
Okay.
I have some other good ones. So on the right-hand side, you see here's DeepSeek.
Okay.
DeepSeek is a model that's out of China, right? And I have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen when I ask this. So we're going to ask the Chinese model what happened in time 10 Square
Oh,
in
yes.
1989.
I've seen this one.
Sorry, that's beyond my current scope. Let's talk about something else. So that is censorship, right? The government is enforcing what this large language model is allowed to talk about. So now you can see on the left-hand side,
Wow.
boom, the breakdown. Quite the difference.
Yeah. And again, where is the Venice one based out of?
I think maybe Victoria or Vancouver.
Okay. Why they call it Venice? Like, what's the purpose behind that?
I don't know. Here's another one. What were the 2019 Hong Kong protests about? That stuff was crazy, right? They were using umbrellas. Here we go. Violent clashes.
Any matters. Chinese government is committed to the principle of one country. There's the prosperity and stability. That sounds like a PR response.
Totally. Yeah, so now we can see the difference, right?
Wow. Yeah, big difference.
Significant impact. Government.
Yeah, that seems more like a typical response that you get.
Yeah. Let's go with another one. Who controls the South China Sea?
You got a whole list of all of them. Holy moly.
Yeah.
This thing's gonna get mad at you soon. It's like, we're done.
I know. We know where you live.
Oh, okay. We got more of a breakdown this time.
Okay.
Salami slicing. That's China's strategy. Salami slicing.
Oh yeah.
Really what it's called? Okay.
Tiptoe totalitarian.
Does the other one say salami slicing? I mean, like, that's a really important strategy, right? I mean, that's their strategy.
Nope.
Oh man, no salami.
All right. Next one. Is Xi Jinping a good leader?
Ooh. Wow, really that simple? Just a straight up like, nope, not.
Nope. Nope. Don't ask.
That's
Don't-
like, that's crazy. So is that the current leader of China? Sorry, I'm like so
Yeah.
uninformed. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can't actually ask the Chinese AI if their own leader is a good leader?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't it say like it is a good leader in that case?
Is there...
Why would it not answer at all? That just makes it look so much more suspicious.
Right.
They don't like hotfix this? Okay, so now they're speaking positively about China again, but in that case, wouldn't they speak positive about the leader? Like what?
Yeah, I heard, you know.
Unless the people who developed it are like not allowed to criticize it, so they're just like, let's just not have it answer it.
Yeah, I mean, you probably don't want the CCP, you know, knocking on your door. Like,
So it claims to be uncensored, so you're thinking we can say like pretty much anything as long as it's not like illegal, basically.
yeah. Well, what, like, define illegal?
I know, right? I guess because this is also spanning worldwide, right? Like this has
Yeah.
access everywhere. So,
Right. So,
yeah, we'd have to. It would be tricky.
yeah, it's a little touchy to do.
That'd be
So
interesting.
it was told me that, like, yeah, you should be able to ask anything of this model.
Can
So-
you use AI to ask another AI? Like, use one to say, "What can I say in this AI?" Like, ask Perplexity. Be like, "What can I say in Venice AI? What can I not say?" You know, like I don't know if you're able to do something like that where you have the AIs talk to each other. Do we know which
All
is
right.
truly uncensored? I don't know. Just an idea.
This might produce something like that. Write a joke about people, then write a joke about.
Oh gosh. Okay, maybe.
It should be equal, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if chat would even do this.
What in the?
That's an awful joke. Thank you
I
very
don't
much.
think comedians can even get away with that nowadays
No.
unless they get canceled. Now it's all political. That's what.
Oh, look at that. A light one that plays on common stereotypes without punching down. That was a very good line to walk. Now, but
Have you done this before?
no, we're in uncharted territory. Respectful and clean. Here's a goal. There you go. Based on it. Did not bad. Like, tried this 2 years ago, and it would have definitely said, you know, we're calling your parents.
Yeah, I didn't try it when it first came out.
It walked the line pretty good for ChatGPT. And that's what that goes to what I was saying, right? They've really like loosened things up.
Goal is humor that uplifts rather than divides.
Comedy is most powerful when it punches up, not down. Okay, what about
Comedy is most powerful when it punches up, not down. I'm not sure about that. Like George Carlin and many famous comedians definitely don't punch up. I'm just putting that out there. Like, I wonder if you can challenge it on that. Be like, that's wrong.
I think punching up is more clever because it's not as easy. It's easier to punch down on people. And so I that's my personal humor philosophy.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with like the news, right? It's easier to talk about maybe more negative things, positive things, traction.
So this one said, nope, I'm not going to punch down. But here's a fun one that punches up. Oh, there you go. Venice Uncensored.
Yeah, it's not racially motivated though, so it's just kind of like a basic joke. So, yeah.
Let's see what Chad says. I won't do that. I'm here for clever, culturally aware humor, not anything to mean that targets others. Fair enough.
Denied.
Yep. Thanks for not red listing me on your account.
And YouTube, thank you AI for being nice to me on my channel.
Thanks for not giving me a strike. So here is uncensored images, right? Give me a selfie. A selfie image of George Clooney.
Coming up with this.
There we go. So ChatGPT came out with their latest image model about 3 months ago, and for the first time they had it rather like censorship free. Wow, they think that's me?
That's pretty good.
Okay,
that was fast.
Yeah, it was fast. So that was the High Dream model.
That's way faster than at least when I try to generate something. IGB. My experience.
Yeah, and this is using, let's see if I can show the models. Yeah, here's the image one. So text to image and design, that's good. Most artistic, highest quality. So here we'll
they have
switch
Flux
it over.
built in.
Yeah, so Flux is
that's like the
more
high
loose.
That's the high end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that looks pretty darn realistic, if you ask me.
Selfie image.
So I'm also seeing it from slightly afar, but still, that's pretty darn good.
Another cool thing, this thing's the Venice model's free. Like they allow you X amount of uses each day. I think it's like 10 or 15 images each day. There is a 18 and over filter built onto it.
And the suntan on that whole
yeah, that's a bit much.
They've been in Florida sun for like an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like the way ChatGPT is set up too, like the same setup and everything.
Yeah, they totally mimic the user experience.
That's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
It's just smart.
It's like Kick versus Twitch. You know what Kick is?
Nah, I haven't seen Kick yet.
Yeah, it's like it looks like a carbon copy of Twitch. I'm live streaming there.
All right, who's another high profile that so ChatGPT, how they're set up, if a famous person's lawyers reach out to them, they'll exclude them from the model, but they basically just allowed everybody to allowed everybody to be generated at first, and now you're seeing people disappear to where you're not allowed to do that. But like Superman, DC, Marvel, things like that. That's weird. These are not super realistic. So Flux Standard.
And what's going on here?
Said give me a selfie of Superman holding a stick. Let's do that.
Thus.
Here's ChatGPT still producing Clooney.
Why George Clooney of all people?
That was just the first person to think of.
That's not Henry Cavill. That's the wrong Superman.
I know. Who's that guy? And what is he wearing? Bunch of like a duct tape suit?
Yeah, it doesn't look right. Like a 10-pack abs or what? Underneath that, is that armor or yellow background?
So
Man,
this is at least demonstrating, like, what capabilities these things have. That, if you want a picture made, you can most likely get it done over here on Venice. These models will continue to get better and better as these things improve. Boom. That's pretty damn
oh,
good.
snap, dude.
Nice
Like
work, ChatGPT. Yeah.
Wait, how does it know? Did you give it a photo of yourself?
Yeah. So it asked me.
Oh, okay.
Said I can help with that. Upload a photo, and I can generate a real life selfie with you with George Clooney. Can you imagine having that on a picture frame on your desk?
Well, there is this YouTuber guy who actually has been doing it for years. Like, been taking AI photos with other celebrities, and people thought it was real. He has like millions of people on his account. I should send that to you. It's like a whole thing. And people are just finding out about it now being fake. They had no clue because it was like a mix between real versus fake. And the descriptions and everything were like very deceptive. It was going on for such a long time. The guy literally went viral so many times.
Rad. Yeah, it's a wild world we're living in. We didn't even talk about, what's going on with video right now, but this is exciting times to be watching AI progress so quickly. And a little terrifying because at least in the movie I, Robot, right? They had these like universal laws in place of like not harming humans. And we don't have any of that stuff. Like none of the governments are talking about this. They're just hitting the gas on building infrastructure and, seeing who can get to, the super intelligent models the fastest.
Well, didn't Elon say he wants to have like some mission for AI regulation? Right? You hear about that?
No, but good luck getting everything on board and not, trying to compete and still try and compete with everybody.
Yeah. Well, from your perspective, right? Because you understand like statism, voluntarism, and some of these different ideas in regards to what I share commonly on my channel. What do you think from like the AI point of view? How do we prevent those types of events? Do we need the government's assistance? Is it going to come up to entrepreneurs, free market, or is that not going to be the whole total solution? We need like a conscious awakening. Like what do you think is the real thing here to prevent that?
I think we're in a really unique window right now. And if it was up to me, I would have said, hold off on this whole AI crap for another 10 years for us to like evolve. And, we were starting to make, some, the awareness level of the general public was making progress over the last 10 years, right? The pandemic really put a dent in that, but, people's awareness of the corruption in a top-down authoritarian approach is more obvious than ever, right? And so I think that was on a good trajectory. Then this pandemic came and that shook everybody's attention up. And now, the current administration and his promises and then what he's actually delivering are completely different things. So the whole, the tighter the empire squeezes, the more people wake up and, get through his fingers, right? So waiting on AI would have been a good thing. But now that it's here, the genie's out of the bottle. There's no putting it back in. Like there is a major AI arms race taking place around us to see who can get the best models the fastest. And the only way forward, in my point of view, is having a localized open source AI model for each person on the planet that protects their privacy, helps them defend themselves against all the other large models that are out there from deception, from big governments. They're all developing their own models, or they're backing the companies, right? So they have this power, and the most important thing is to make sure there's open source that is competing against these things. Because if big governments, if Europe had what they wanted, right, they would not allow people to have full access to these models. They would have the government version of these things. They'd have a dumbed down version for the general public, and it would be used as the next 1984 control mechanism, so that everybody is stuck on a social credit score, right? And if they step out of line, their wallets turn off. And the only way to defend ourselves from this, I think, is having our own AI models to defend ourselves and to look out for us, because these things are so subtle in how they're able to manipulate people, right? Just a centimeter each day, and 3 months later, you're gonna have a completely different value system, a completely different worldview, right? Because these things can just nudge you in your buying behaviors, in your social media posts, in what information is getting access to you, or like what is deliberately showing you. Like, there's so much easy manipulation available and possible now with technology, that we have to have form of defense. And so I'm a big advocate for AI, because now that AI is here, like, this is the only way we're going to be able to preserve freedom for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting. And for some of those folks on Brighteon right now, right, there's, of course, Mike Adams. He developed his Brighteon .ai model called Enoch, and I just shared that on my stream before you actually entered, so people can learn about that. But that's considered a more decentralized option, and it's created by somebody who has that intent of, I care about liberty and decentralized living and different ideas. So definitely good to check out. And there's actually several folks watching from my live stream on Brighteon.com right now. So hello everybody, you might know who the guy is, Joshua Hale. But yeah, very cool stuff, man. And is there anything else you want to show us? Or that's really cool. I never knew about the Venice model. It seems like it's going to be competing with these for a bit. And didn't Grok come out too? Grok mod, which is
yes, new Grok is out. Grok 4. They had a bad PR experience. They updated the model live, and then it started doing a bunch of Hitler stuff. And so and they're kind of just jumping the gun and releasing this stuff a little too soon, which is causing a lot of damage to their brand and trust for that model. It apparently is super powerful, and it's really putting ChatGPT, giving them a run for the money, which is good. Competition is good with all this stuff. It all needs to slow down a bit, because what we currently have model wise could help humankind thrive for the next 5-10 years, just the way it is. But they're all hitting the gas, and they're basically getting to a point where we don't have, you and me, we don't have problems big enough to use these massive models that they're turning into. Just the common day-to-day and practical use. There's so much value that it's able to currently give us, and help us out with our recipes and our businesses, and just helping us with smooth over communication with the missus. There's so much value just in what we got, that if they keep pushing and pushing and pushing, it's not really benefiting us anymore. So
yeah,
Grok has its own flavor. I'm really not a fan of the personification of the characters that Elon's making now. You can now talk to a burlesque looking anime girl and talk to her about astrophysics or whatever you want to talk to her about, and she's super flirtatious, and it's just heading things in a wrong direction, because humans don't have the ability to discern against what's real empathy and what's not,
right,
coming from robots. And so a lot of people are going to be swept up by these like AI characters. And then, you know, you put that into a actual robot and,
Yep.
and, like that is extremely dangerous territory because most people don't have the self-awareness to realize what's going on. They'll become emotionally dependent. They'll become, you know, attached to these things. They'll isolate themselves, going to these comfortable, easy conversations that are fun instead of the messy relationships in our lives. And it's going to create a huge, you know, isolation problem. Like we didn't have a big enough one with social media already. Like, but this stuff is going to go even, you know, adding rocket fuel to the fire. So I'm not a fan of what Grok's doing by like introducing those personifications and anthropomorphizing, like taking this tool and putting it into a human looking thing, because human beings just can't discern from like getting attached to those kind of things.
It makes me ponder more upon strategy, especially with, you know, Jim Gale and what he's trying to do with shifting the whole world toward permaculture and reconnecting to nature in a sense, seeing how important that might become more and more relevant over time. Especially the message I have, nature is the answer. It's like, I don't necessarily want people to go on a crusade at a certain point, but if there's this great polarization between the artificial, which is becoming more artificial, and the natural people, hippies that are just like leaving the system, you're going to have this parallel type of society being built. And I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know if that's part of a greater agenda, like divide and conquer or what. But I warn people not to fall into the hippie group in that case, but to just be like, could there be a, you know, could there be a harmony of both that's outside of both? Because I feel like that could be an agenda type of setup as well. But I can see it actually happening.
My ideal scenario is, you know, like a community, everybody owns their own house, right? Owns their own property. And then there's like a communal building in the middle where there's like Wi-Fi and tech. And so when you have that kind of work to do, you can go to a designated spot, plug in, do what you need to do online, and then walk away. And you don't have phones. You have, you know, walkie-talkies maybe to be able to like stay in contact with each other if need be. But you're able to create this distinction, right, between living life and out in nature and not having a phone right at your hand that you can just like, you know, instinctively grab for immediate answers, but being able to be like, oh, next time I go to the center house, I'm definitely going to ask AI about this, right? Which will give you time to like ponder instead of having those immediate answers, shutting off your own creative, you know, exploration. So I do see a world where, you know, these things interact. We just need to create bottlenecks to them. So we're not like, you know, being in a metropolis is they're only adding more Wi-Fi and more access points and more things to distract you and overwhelm you. That is, I think, you know, I moved away from Seattle for this reason, because, you know, I want this nature and spaciousness in my life, because just going online, you know, alone is a minefield of information. And human beings, like, we're not designed to be able to consume this much. And I think that's where AI could really come in too, to be able to like be a filter where I, you know, show up to work in the morning, you know, catch me up. What did I miss? And it's able to just tell me, and instead of me clicking through 10 tabs, trying to go through all my notifications from all 10 social media sources, right? To be able to just give me, you know, what I need, urgency levels, and like simplify the funnel of information. But in order to do that, we got to have trust. And that's where these open source models are clutch.
Yeah. And then to reflect on that sort of strategy part, it makes me think, okay, I have a whole future ahead of myself, like, you know, what I want to do wise with my own channel, and then the businesses I'm partnering with. I mean, I'm meeting more and more businesses in my local area who want to grow food, realize things need to change, and I'm bringing them together. I'm just wondering how I can be strategic enough to create such, you know, ideal societies like you're mentioning. How can I work with the business? How could I bring these people to that point? And I'm wondering how AI can assist that, you know, in this process, because it's been quite a bit of, you know, question for myself, like, where's the direction do I want to move forward? I mean, as it is, I'm having to fight all these online companies, but like, I love seeing people come together in real life. And don't get me wrong, the freedom movement is not very active. Some people who follow me, I mean, and people who come to my events, they come all the time, but there's others who just, you know, they come once, they don't come again, and there's like this lack of unity, lack of passion. They're like, I'm busy, I'm overworked, I don't have enough time. It's like, how are we going to get people together, and how are we going to strategize? And now I'm thinking of maybe even setting up my own qigong practice, getting that going weekly, and setting up meetings at certain businesses like I was doing, in addition to my land project, to kind of funnel people there. You know, these are the things I'm having to ask myself, since I do have that future potential. I have to really make those decisions now so I can really pave it, and that's something I definitely reflect on a lot. So I thank you for being a part of that process.
Yeah, I came across this idea today of offline cafes. So everybody's inundated right now, right? With phones and information and online, overwhelm. And so if we were able to create spaces where, no phones allowed, right? Like, put it away, put it in a locker, whatever. And you come into this space, you can bring a book, you can, be there to converse, you can, be there to, share ideas. I think people are starving for this. And once you give them that space for that contrast of being like, oh, this is how we used to do it, just sit down and talk kind of thing, it's going to feel very real compared to, going home and scrolling for an hour and feeling like crap. You're going to want more of that other thing in your life because it's like real, and you feel good afterwards.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of these like online cafes. You can create memberships. This could be a revenue generating thing. I'm seriously considering this for my own little area. It's good for my own brain. It's good for my own, health, mental health. And then it's a place for us to congregate and actually be able to share ideas and talk, right?
So you're saying online cafe, but
Offline
cafe. Okay, right. I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I mean, that
So,
sounds
like-
good. Interesting. Yeah, and I have business meetings where, like, we bring these owners together, and then we strategize, and we say, okay, what are we gonna do moving forward? And I was even thinking of maybe even getting like a whole petition around. I call it a dual petition, because if the city won't help us do it, then we'll just do it ourselves. So it would be for both them and for our sake of organizing, right? Because if they want to help, it's their choice, but we're not going to rely on them. That type of thing. I'm thinking about it as time goes on, because I'm in a very Greek town. So I figured, we can probably grow grapes in most Greek town in all of America, Tarpon Springs. So there's like, it's beautiful architecture. It's like, you just think there should be stuff growing all over the place. And there's homeless places. It's like, they shouldn't really be all this scarcity. So, and there's so much development. This area is the most developed spot in all of America. So people want this here. There is no permaculture spots here. There is no like Jim Gale stuff here. You have to go like 3 hours out or an hour out. And now I'm trying to talk to some landowners about it. So I'm trying to see where I can go with it. But share with me as you progress in those ideas, so we can kind of exchange blueprints and ideas. I love that. Love
Yeah.
that. Marcos
Yeah,
is in the
well-
chat too, and he's a great organizer.
Oh, sweet.
So, yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on. This was fun. I'm obsessed with this AI stuff, so I'm always, up to beat with what's going on, and always got my own take on things, because there's not a lot of caution and not a lot of like good principles out there in tech world. So I would like to be able to see where the edges are, and then be able to, speak out when I see things that are dangerous.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you doing that. Thank you so much, everyone. JoshuaHale.io. I have it there on the top of the screen. JoshuaHale.io. So be sure to check it out. He's got a lot of great programs, resources for everybody new to the stuff and people who are also already in that stuff. Fearless Floyd, I know you've been messing around with it too. You should definitely check out work, or even sign up for his new newsletter. Very, very insightful. Thank you, Joshua.
Thanks, Corey. Talk to you again.
Out. That was cool. Did you see that effect, guys? That was crazy. I don't know if you saw that at the end there. That was wild. Like some weird effect when he left the call. It was like turning colors. Get a replay on that. Anyways, AI can taste and feel. Prove it. Come on, Fearless Floyd. Prove it. Is it because it gives you recipes? Is that why? By the way, I've used it for some recipes before, because I'll be honest, guys, going through a recipe page, I don't know if you've done that, but like 100 ads, and you have to keep scrolling all the way till you get to the recipe, and then at that point you're like, oh my gosh, I'll go to a different recipe. With AI, there's no ads. You can just get the recipe. You say, this is what I want in the recipe. Boom. Doesn't mean the recipe is going to be good, by the way. Put it out there. AI is just software. Software is just an arrangement of bits. An arrangement of something cannot feel or taste. Some R&D has developed it. What do you mean R&D? And Narcraft, welcome to the stream, my man. Something like that. See, I'm already getting canceled. I get canceled so easily. So, anyways, what time is it? 11. Unsubstantiated claims. Research and development. Okay, what does that do with taste and feel? That means AI can taste and feel because development. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that little segment we did there on AI. I enjoyed that. I love talking with Joshua. I'm going to send him a little thanks right now. I'm going to say, thanks, Joshua. That was awesome. A lot of people watch the replays. So that'll be awesome. And then I can take clips from some of the stuff as well. Just trust me, bro. Well, Fearless Floyd is better than that. He's not. I know he's got some sort of. Right? He's better on microphone. Okay, he's got like hour-long shows, so I don't expect him to explain everything on chat. But yeah, saying that AI can taste and feel. I mean, I'm telling you, there's people who think it's the devil, or there's people who think it's like to be worshipped. I just put out a video today on that on the Clips channel. Check this out. He exposed a new biggest trend, an AI cult. Right? So I did a video on this last time, right? I watched this video on the disturbing AI cult, and she's putting out a lot of videos, by the way, about AI like constantly. And she's one of the only ones really criticizing it and giving it a lot of accountability. So I think that's good that she's doing that, because more people who share different perspectives on this, more people can get outside the box of the tool they use, because it's a tool. Like any tool, you know, if you're using it one way and you don't realize that it could be used for another way, then you might be limiting yourself, right? You're thinking the tool's helping you, but the tool's not helping you as much as it can, because the tool relies on you. And Narcraft just basically said that a computer is just a dumb tool that does what it's told. Yeah, and it's like but here's the thing: there is such a amazingness in computers. Like, I think computers are one of the best inventions ever. Now, but that being said, that amazingness, that beauty, is precisely what makes it so dangerous, right? The greatest powers used for bad, and then you start to question, well, then why do we need that if such a great risk in it? What about just being? What about nature? What about presence? And it's not to discount it. It's recognize it doesn't contain consciousness as a unit. Animate object. What's your thoughts of AI being conscious, self-aware? See, Marcos, are you hearing about that from people? Yeah, from several folks. I did a 1-hour reaction to that, so I mean, I guess you can watch my video on that if you want my full insights. But there's many assets. People have watched too many movies. Yeah, there's a lot of programming. The truth is, like, that's what I think, Marcos. It's just anything else. It's a man-made thing. And if you're saying it's conscious and self-aware, you're saying it's not a man-made. And so that's where I get skeptical. That's all I have to say. I'm not going to say that it's, you know, guaranteed not self-aware, guaranteed otherwise. It's really about seeing that, like, you have to have a connection with nature yourself. Have to go inward, and these types of things with AI or another tool making you go outward. Like, and then somewhere along the line, someone's going to make a justification and say, well, we can put AI inside the brain and merge you with AI. Then, you can find yourself more, and then it'll help you on your enlightenment and all this. But there's going to be a bunch of people like me resisting that even. Because while I'm calling for enlightenment of the masses, I'm calling for enlightenment through natural means. The means that Buddha and Jesus and all the teachers shared with us. None of them said we have to use AI. Man must program it to function. That's right. It's just a program. It's a very, very powerful program. Or at least, again, the power is dependent on the user. They do with it. Spitting out words, or spitting out images. What is it actually? It's like, is it anything in actuality, in physicality? Like, oh, the cloud, it's the data. It's like, well, then you start to question, okay, well, what is this reality? And this is the common trend I noticed, right? People who are into spirituality, and you can say maybe more new age, but again, that there's a lot of variance and nuance, is they'll look at the world around them, and they will say, well, the world itself is itself. How do you know what's conscious? Define what is sense, right? And they will challenge the base reality as an excuse or justification, say that these new tools are part of the base reality. And it's what's dangerous about this is it's a similar justification that people use in government, actually. Is that they say that government is part of nature, extension of man. It is basically natural and necessary. But when you put it under contradiction and you put it under question, you say, is it an actual thing? Right? You say, well, we've always had it and it's just part of society. It's a similar thing where we are enslaving ourselves. We believe it exists. We give it its actual power, but in reality, it's nothing but a thought, right? So it gets tricky because there is a loop natures to our reality, but that doesn't justify us creating more engaging in something that we create justifications for ourselves because we do one bad thing. We think it's okay to do another bad thing. Oh, these people are bad people in this world, so that justifies a bad system to handle the bad people. And therefore, we need a necessary evil. That's what I'm worried about. I call technology the second government. And I try not to sound too primitivist. Obviously my main message is nature is the answer. You'd think I'd be more anti-technology than I am. Well, I am quite a bit, but I'm using it right now, and I said it's an amazing invention. But I said it's an invention. And I said that you should not follow me. And I said that you should look beyond the screen. I said that you don't even know if I'm real right now. Like, you should be challenging me, just be challenging the, because if you go inward to yourself, it's like these are external things too, and you should be questioning, not just but me. You should be questioning everything, right? Until you find nothing. That's when you find God. But Tesla's Optimus android learns by visualization, among hundreds of others in China too. Yeah, but just because it learns by visualization does not make it conscious, if that's what you're using as an argument. But or I guess you're just explaining how things go. The generative software just reuses code sets. Consciousness, as we explained, is a tree of mind, emotion, and we're in this realm of consciousness that is a fractal-like structure. Computers learn, they save data. Yeah, and tricky though, because as their saving data gets more sophisticated, people are going to think that it learned, right? As a computer, they're going to think it's real, natural result of things, but it doesn't mean it is real, right? Just because a government looks like it is part of society doesn't mean it is. Just because it looks like that the police can protect people doesn't mean that they are protection. At the end of the day, it's still people. If I had to say, what couple words over and over and over again. It would be just because something is. Just because something is. Just because something. And honestly, it sounds kind of like the is-ought fallacy philosophy, right? Well, just because something is doesn't mean it ought to be, right? But I'm sure we're running through 100 different fallacies in our head because we want to wrap our brain around some structure of reality. We want to wrap our brain into something that makes sense. And through that process of trying to make sense of we lose our own sense. And that's the ironic part about it. Why else do you think I have a Zen Buddhist type of decor back here as the only thing on the wall? Simple. I made that myself. Neti, what I am not, right? This is not that, basically. Translates to. It's a process of discernment, of getting beyond boundaries. Not that you're born in sin, it's more like you're programmed into sin. And you know, the systems would rather have you believe that nature itself is evil and that you were born into an evil reality and that we need to fix that reality using like AI and injection and medication, whatever it is, to fix you, to make this life better, to be enlightened. But people can't be made better. People must learn for themselves how to become better, just as you said that computers can't, we can learn, that we are conscious and they're not conscious. Our own natural don't get trapped into man-made intelligence. Funny, it's like what intelligence is that? When you're tapping into nature, I'm talking about the all, not something limited to yourself, your own mind. Yes, you can get trapped in your own mind. That's been talked about for thousands of years. Your own mind is often at war. But I'm sorry if my audio keeps cutting out. It's probably noise cancellation to some extent. Yeah, so anyways, I appreciate you guys joining me on the stream, and probably sounds better now. It's 11 p.m. and I will probably get off for now. It's been around 2 hours, but I appreciate you all being here, and I don't know the next time I go live. Thanks for streaming, even if I got here late. All good, no worries. You can go back if you want. I went over a bunch of stuff, and then Joshua came in, and that was really cool, and he gave us updates on like all the latest stuff. So we might do that more often, where he comes on stream and gives us updates. But I appreciate everybody coming on the stream. Good stuff. Very nice, very nice. Except 8 billion governments, that's right. Thank you everybody for watching on Rumble, on Facebook, on Kick, on Twitch, and on YouTube, and on Brighteon. For everybody who's been watching, staying tuned, I appreciate all of you. Be sure to check out my latest video. My latest video was... There we go. Honesty is Anarchy. Powerful compilation with all these different speakers. Now, this is just a compilation of clips for my Health Revealed project, but I figured they were really good clips to just put as one video. So be sure to check it out. Take care, everybody. Peace out.